today's cup of coffee, we're going to be discussing something that kid wanted to talk about, and those are the men in black.
Yeah.
And so the reports of these a little bit different than the movie. The first movie is still just one of the best movies ever. It was great. It was a great movie. And we're going to start out with from the website How and Why's. This is again by Vicky Varma. It comes from March 22nd, 2020. Of course it would. And it's entitled, "This Man Was Tortured by Men in Black to Close His Study on UFOs." And Albert K. Bender was the most influential. This is funny, because spell correct can be a total bitch at times.
Autocorrect.
Yeah, autocorrect. Because it says he's the most influential urologist. So, and of the 1950s and 60s, it meant ufologist. So, anyhow, dude didn't proofread. He was 95 when he died in 2016, but managed to make his own sufficient contribution to ufology and took one of the three places among the most influential scientists of the previous century. He got his interest in UFOs after World War II, where he served in the United States Air Force. The expert was considered to be one of the first people who tried to put together all of the information about visits of men in black. He also created the first large-scale society of ufologists called the International Flying Saucer Bureau, the IFSB. The fame was brought to the scientist after a book was published in 1962 called Flying Saucers and the Three Men. He is also the author of the urological journal, UFOlogical. Yeah.
Ufological.
Anyhow, it was called Space Review that had been released earlier. In March of 1953, at night, unknown men in black entered into Bender's home, but he didn't even have time to get out of his bed. The burglars turned out to be the men in black, about whom he had heard from frightened witnesses. Their eyes shone, their skin was pale, and they were dressed in white shirts, black shoes, and suits of the same color. He described his encounter with the men in black, saying that he had been trembling and feeling cold, and that he had received a telepathic message. Bless.
Sorry.
Their main condition was that the scientist would never again touch the topic of UFOs, otherwise he could regret it. Then they turned around and left the house. The researcher took their words seriously but did not quit his job because the phenomena associated with UFOs was such a huge part of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And the nightly aliens returned to him for a second time. Okay, was it nightly, or did they just come back a second time?
I don't know.
Apparently this...
Maybe this is a follow-up to, like, them coming back frequently.
Well, then it wouldn't be a second time.
Well, it was the second time that it happened, but there could be many after.
Okay. Anyhow, they had returned to him the second time, and his condition worsened again. It seemed that they were fishing out energy from him. Fishing out energy? Why didn't he say draining energy?
I don't know.
I don't either from him. Anyhow, but this time it was a lot more than the first. He was running out of strength. This visit gave the researcher stomach pains and frequent migraines. And according to Albert, during their second visit, the eyes of the visitors burned brighter and looked with greater threat. The second time, he missed the message, and when the men in black came again, the ufologist felt very bad. He was thin, there were problems with his psyche and eyesight, and he fancied that these pursuers were everywhere and not just at his home. So was he really seeing them, or was it a matter of some paranoia?
Don't know. Could be both.
Could be both. It says that he began to see them on the street in a dark alley. And finally, Bender decided to give up and left the study of UFOs. He closed the book, the Bureau, and until the end of his days no longer worked on this topic. After that, his health condition got better.
That's good.
So, and then from Wikipedia, it gives a little more information on some of this. People need to proofread. If you're writing something, read it once, read it twice. Walk away from it, then go back and read it a third time.
Yeah.
And read it out loud, because you will catch mistakes that you don't often.
Oh, yeah.
It says that Albert K. Bender was the author of the 1962 nonfiction book, Flying Saucers and the Three Men. And he was a ufologist. Well, at least they got that part right.
Yeah, luckily.
And he was obsessed with the UFO phenomenon and became a UFO researcher, founding the International Flying Saucers Bureau. And he also founded a music society, but that doesn't pertain to what we're discussing. So
Right.
that's for another channel.
Yeah.
After believing to have experienced a supernatural encounter in 1953, he was married on October the 18th, 1954, to Betty Rose, and she believed that she had also been visited by supernatural personages.
Personages?
That's what it says. I don't.
Is that a right word? Is that the right term?
It would have been much simpler if they had said beings.
Yeah. Or persons.
Personages. I don't know. I don't
word.
know. He founded the International Flying Saucer Bureau, the first major civilian UFO club in the world. I think that's interesting that it says the first major civilian UFO club. So that makes you wonder, okay, what other UFO clubs were there that were not civilian?
Right.
That only leaves government and or military.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we have a very loud thing, as you can hear. Okay, there it goes. And every night. It says although the organization was a success at first, he suddenly shut it down in 1953. Bender later told that in March of 1953, he had been approached by three men in black. These men visited him in his house and communicated with him telepathically. He received a metal disc from them and instruction. He reported that he felt like he was being transported. These men apparently shared insights into the nature of UFOs and the origin of UFOs. Afterwards, he became ill and didn't eat for 3 days. As a result of the visitation, Bender felt encouraged to share what he had seen with other UFO investigators, but was refused. Now, why would they refuse that?
I don't know.
Who were these investigators?
Exactly. Who are they?
Bender suffered frequent headaches after the three men visited him, and his co-workers reported that he seemed scared. Well, no kidding. When you've got three total strangers coming into your house, that has a tendency to unnerve you.
Exactly. I don't fucking know.
It says that his alleged experiences were recorded in the book They Knew Too Much About Flying Saucers by Gary Barker, Bender's organization associate. That's who Barker was. Sorry, missed the period on that one. Bender's experience formed the legend of the Men in Black. Bender did not speak of the event for 9 years. In 1962, Bender wrote Flying Saucers and the Three Men to tell his own story. Bender recounts that the Men in Black were from another planet. Now, Barker published his book, but there is speculation that Bender's experience was only a dream. Of course, the people always say that.
Yeah, of course.
That's the standard. Let's discredit someone. Bender was not the first one, however, to report visitations to UFO researchers from Men in Black. Bender reported that he had a second supernatural encounter. He was visited by the three shadowy figures, and they did not touch the floor but hovered above it. They told him that their human appearance was an illusion and that whatever information he told people about their visitation would not be believed. They supposedly told him that they captured people from Earth and used their bodies to disguise themselves. Space Review was the official magazine about ufology news in 1953. Late in the summer of 1953, Bender made a series of discoveries which led him to believe that he had finally found the truth to the UFO cover-up. He had planned to reveal his findings in the October issue of the Space Review, but before the issue was published, Bender was visited by three men dressed in black who had already read the unpublished report and confirmed his findings. The silencers, as he called them, scared Bender to the point that he did not publish the report, but left a warning, quote, "We advise these engaged in saucer work to please be very cautious," end quote. Mm-hmm. Bender then suspended publishing on his publication and dissolved his organization. So, that's the origin of the Men in Black. What do you think, kid?
That's interesting. Have you seen the video of the people, of the Men in Black walking into the building or whatever?
I don't think that I have. I mean, there's been so many sightings of the Men in Black over the years. Uh-huh. And I don't know. Usually they travel in pairs, don't they, instead of threes?
Yeah, it was two of them. Yeah, it was two of them that walked in to that building. And it was freaky looking. They were bald!
Yeah, I have heard that before.
And they did not look human-esque.
Right.
I mean, they were like humanoids, but they did not look, there was something off about them.
Right. Well, there's been theories that they are some kind of hybrid species, or even as far as clones, or mechanical, sort of android-esque beings.
Uh-huh.
So,
yeah, there is theories of that.
Yeah. But if they're always menacing and threatening to whomever that they show up at their door.
Mm-hmm.
I think if two men in black showed up at our door and it's like, oh no, I'm going to be in the other room.
I have a baseball bat I can hit them in the face
with we've got weapons.
And see if that breaks the mechanism.
We've got weapons. But, as far as... there are some people that think that they're from the government or the military or whatever. They very well could be involved in those things and still be some kind of a hybrid whatever.
Right.
So...
who knows?
But it's interesting.
Very.
This was going to be one of your, something that you had really I expected more input.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm kind of dealing with some shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, that's all right. We'll do other ones on the Men in Black.
Yeah, but this one is, honestly, I love the idea of Men in Black, but in actuality, would I see them, if I saw them, met them, whatever, would I be freaked out? Hell yeah, I would be.
I don't think anybody would not. If they were not freaked out, they either know what's going on behind the scenes or they're over-medicated.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I don't know that.
Anyhow. So if you have had paranormal or supernatural experiences, if you've had encounters with UFOs, spaceships, Men in Black, cryptozoology, beings such as Bigfoot and chupacabras, what have you. If you have local legends or family legends, send us an email at cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was interesting that dude kept calling it urologist.
Yeah.
I finally passed the kidney stone, guys. It was a double.
It was huge.
So
it's freaky looking.
I'm feeling much better, just a little tired.
She's overly medicated.
I want to have it mounted.
You can't have it mounted. You could have it. So you could send it to someone and have them put it in resin and use it as a paperweight.
Yeah. Why not? So anyhow, You all have a beautiful, blessed, kidney stone free day.
Men in Black free day as well.
All right, bye.
Bye.